Ticker symbol VIRI has met the top side of our range perfectly. Let's go ahead and revise the plan here because there could be some signals firing off in the statistical side of the analysis. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a VIRI technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, team, so very, very good news. We ended up getting that absolute top that we were talking about, right? Our range was sitting at 205, and let's just go ahead and see today's candle. It absolutely reached right here on the H for the right here on the H for OHLC, open, high, low, close. You can see that 205 marked our range perfectly the way we were talking about it, right, guys? So another piece of good news is that this pretty much invalidates any type of head and shoulders formation now. Okay, so this is way out of context now, and price action could be setting up for a continuation to the upside based on some other metrics that I'm taking a look at. Okay, team. So of course, remember still that the head and shoulders provided actually provides a target for us to evaluate that can be looked at here at about $2.37, which lands very, very close to the 4.618 of $2.40. Okay, so now naturally I would have to give us a range of I'd say anywhere between 230. You know, I'm going to revise it here, so I'd say anywhere around 230 to about 246, and that could be a very nice point for us, right? So yeah, yesterday we were talking about this upside here being 8.42% to the upside based on the closing of the prior day's candle, and we got exactly that, and then it reverted back to its mean here, and now you can actually see that right in here. This is the percentage area. You can see that percentage is 4.19%, literally half retracement from what we talked about. Okay, so very, very, very precise times here. Okay, guys, so let me go ahead and take a look at some other things here for us. Okay, so here is the daily volatility versus momentum. This is looking very juicy. It actually makes me feel that I need to run a back test here on daily now because we have, we're just vertical here and increasing volatility. So that's very much indicative of a continuation to the upside. Okay, team. So actually, you know what? I wanted to point out a couple things here. This is going to be particularly to the 3-day Gaussian band. Okay, so yeah, we got that test back here. Yes, here it goes. Okay, so team, check this out. Okay, the EMA 21 and the EMA 55 on a 3-day time frame about to make a silver cross. This is absolutely bullish, team. This is definitely looking incredibly powerful, and it's I think it could be coming in the next day or so, right? So this is very powerful. We're about to get that bullish cross, which would essentially, we were already talking about it from back here, right? That we would come back and try to validate the moving averages before continuing on to the upside, thus pressuring the moving averages to create that bullish cross, right? So that paired with this immediate pivot here from momentum and decreasing volatility, that's kind of a mathematical setup for an upside. That test to the moving averages also included the test and validation of the breaking outside of the Gaussian band, the red band, right? So right over here, we broke upside of it, we tested it, and then we pumped to the upside, of course, and we're coming back to validate it again, and now we're pumping to the upside again. Okay, team, so that's what it's looking mighty, mighty powerful here. Okay, so one more thing to touch on here is actually the falling wedge that we were looking at, right, team? So, the targets can actually be acquired by taking a trend line from the top side of the triangle all the way to the bottom side of the triangle, applying it to the area of breakout, which is this candle here, a clean breakout side of it, right? And the other area to look at would be the center of the triangle, right around here. So, and then you apply it to that same area to give you some price objectives. Please notice here that the second or the center price objective has absolutely been met now. Okay, so we still have a ways to go from this formation breakout on the 8-hour, right? So I'm thinking that it could be, well, it's saying 228, right? So the thing is that the 3.618 is directly on 228, so that's increasingly curious. And don't mind the 237 just yet, but 237 was based on the other chart that we were looking at, right over right over here. I had it at 237, right? But 237 is the Head and Shoulders top, just in case you want to get a detail here, right? So 237 right at the Head and Shoulders top. That's it's just to tell us that there could be a pretty nice setup there for an upside in several different ways and manners, right? So yeah, I would actually have to just give it a space between 228 and 237, of course, based on formation and psychology there. And now let's go ahead and touch on something very important here. Actually, you know what? Before I get into the statistics, let's go ahead and just talk about this. I was talking about yesterday. I was talking about an ascending triangle here, and actually, the ascending triangle was in fact not what ended up happening. Right? We got the upside a lot sooner than what we thought, and so now that actually forces me to kind of revise the formation here into something like this, and I'll explain to you why. Okay, so this is actually a bullish formation, even still. It is a symmetrical triangle, aka a pennant. Okay, so we got the let's see, 1, 2, 3, fourth breakout, right? Retest of the support, and then a continuation to the upside. But remember that this was a very tricky upside because of the take profit zone of the broadening descending wedge, right? So that was absolutely kept into account here. Okay, so we broke outside of it, right? And we came back. This is all during the pre-market, right? The early pre-market. Please notice here. Please notice right there, that little wick coming right back down here to test that support before continuing on to the upside. Okay, so that is actually what ended up happening here. And usually these formations present a continuation for price action when built during an upside. So continuation, because it's built during an upside, reaccumulates, continues, right? So now let's go ahead and take a different metric here, right? So from the top side of the triangle all the way to the supposed bottom side, which could be around here, we apply that to the breakout candle, which could be this one here. And that's leading now to a price of about 207. Okay, so now the price from the center of the triangle, which would be about here, let's go ahead and extend it just a bit. That would take us, let's see, to a price target of about, let's see, a price target of about 199 or 2, yeah, just 199, right? And of course, with the opening at the bell literally today, that price was actually met. Okay, so and then we haven't met the top side of that quite yet, but that I expect to be coming in pretty soon. Okay, team. So yeah, let me move on and take a look at the statistical side. Okay, team. There is something fired off here, and this is the volatility versus momentum profile, and I've actually back tested the 5-day, right? So we actually only have about 5 iterations that have happened historically, and all 5 have guessed the upside correctly. The criteria or the condition or context is actually anytime that volatility starts to contract from critical expansion paired with momentum with an upside pivot. I've taken note of every time that has happened throughout the entire trading history, which is only 5 iterations. I've taken note of that duration, the upside thrust, and the amount of times, of course, that it would get it correct and incorrect. But that is actually proving 100% accurate thus far. Okay, so the signal has fired, and I want to point this out because we do have, just remember, it has 100% accuracy, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be 100%. At one point, it's probably going to fail. Okay, it's just that's the way it kind of goes, right? So yeah, the signal has fired, and I do have to point out something very critical here is that ADX, which is the dotted white line, is sitting at about 33%, which is absolutely strong market trend to DMI plus, which is the bulls, right? DMI minus are the bears. So when you have this paired with the statistical setup of volatility versus momentum, that gives it DMI support, and it gives it even more validity for an upside continuation. Okay, so out of 5 out of 5 iterations, upside accuracy comes out to 100%. The average upside thrust comes out to 64.76%, which is the mean. During let's see, it's the span of about 50 days. Okay, so I have calculated the if you're familiar with statistics, I have calculated the standard deviation and the upper bound of the first standard deviation and lower bound as well. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a standard deviation of 60 spot 24% with an upper bound or the greatest performer being at about 125% to the upside. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of put those metrics in line here. So the signal fired off at this candle top here. Okay, so that's essentially where volatility started to pass the 90 percentile, contracting below it, right? So from this point here, we can measure. So first of all, we would measure the 64 spot 76, or I mean, since it's very close, a standard deviation of 60 spot 24. But yeah, that would essentially take us to around 252. And I wonder if actually we were already talking about a target near that. I know we got the 240 and 237 here, right? So, I mean, and also the 252 would be right up here, which is, I mean, dangerously close to the 4 spot 618 at 260. And yeah, okay. So we have the 4 spot 618 kind of meeting that. Okay, so and that's nice. It's also confluent with the 1 spot 272 at 253 here on the 5-day. So geometrically and I mean with mathematical concept and also psychologically, it's all kind of rhyming to go to that area there around 237 to 252. Now the 125% upper bound of the first standard deviation is suggesting a top side of what? $3.45. Okay, so $3.45, it would put us just upside of the 1 spot 618 at 315. So that naturally gives us a resistance range of let's go ahead and adjust it now. So 345 to 315, right at the golden ratio. Okay, so that's pretty much what's happening here. Okay, so I'm not saying that we're going to go to 345. I'm saying that the target is as high as 345 for the time being, right? Of course, anything can be invalidated with any bad news or any literally anything, right? The markets sell off or something, right? But nothing of that nature is indicating that for ticker symbol VIRI. In fact, look at the RSI. We just have a little bit of consolidation here on the 30-minute. Other than the buy hourly with a slight upside in resistance, take a look at your upper time frames, right? So starting from even the 4-hour, which is very, very limited reaccumulation here. And if we were to be absolutely clear of what can happen here, oh man, it would be very limited downside. That's what I can say, right? So let's see here. Maybe we can play it. I mean, that's incredible here. Okay, so let me see the 8-hour time frame. Since we have the 2 spot 272 at 186, that could also be a potential, right? So a quick retracement here and then a continuation to the upside at 186, right? So I'm not saying that we can do that. I'm just saying that the 4-hour time frame is indicative of that, right? So or less actually. That's really close. And oh man, yeah. So I don't know how much downside we can actually get tomorrow, but it's not very much. And in fact, it could reaccumulate fast and then continue on to the upside here. Okay, so now the daily time frame, of course, it's in the bullish control zone of the bull strength percentile with an upside pivot beyond the SMA 14 and getting very close to the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile. So very likely to get pushed up. More notably is the 3-day time frame making a very bullish cross upside of the SMA 14 and absolutely inside of the gravitational zone here. This is very likely to get pulled to the upside. The 5-day time frame is also just in the bullish control zone, bull strength percentile here, upside pivot on both the SMA 14 and RSI signal. That's all looking extremely powerful, team. Okay, so yeah, I still have to favor the targets. Like I said, about 230 to about 246, and then beyond that, we would be looking at the I'm sorry, I have to adjust that to 230 to 253 or 252, right? This is my top side of the range here. And then beyond that, we with conditions here, we would be looking at about 315 to 345 in the next week or maybe two. So it's showing in the charts that we have a pretty substantial upside to look at, and it's very curious that we're getting that top side to statistically speaking at 345 because take a look here. This is literally the next resistance that we can ever face here, based on this capitulation here. It's incredibly, yeah, just just know. Okay, so yeah, the 125% to the upside is the high performers here. So within this range, the 68% of the performers would be 60 spot 24% right over here. And the of course, the lower bound of the first standard deviation for spot 52% to the upside has of course already been met, and that's this side. Okay, just so you can be, just so you can know what I'm speaking of, statistically speaking. Okay, team. But yeah, remember first and foremost that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.